So I've covered Steven Crowder quite a few times before because Steven Crowder is just the worst. However, one belief of his I've never covered is his belief the AIDS epidemic never happened. He believes the AIDS epidemic that killed over 30 million people worldwide never happened. I'm just going to play a small little clip. I know it's from July. I'll explain why I'm talking about it now in a minute, but here's just a small little clip from his video.
Once upon a time, in the 80s, the media and governments of the world warned of an impending catastrophe. One that could end civilization as we know it. The epidemic of HIV/AIDS. Yes, in the 1980s and early 90s, the message was clear. No one was safe from the silent non-killer that is AIDS. AIDS, oh no!
That's his dog, because he does this thing where his dog is like correcting history. He makes a show for adults typically, and this idea is something from PBS Kids, like a weird parody.
Many people had the wool pulled over their eyes with this hoax, but with the media aflutter over the latest doomsday scenario, activists were quick to vilify skeptics and reasonable doubters. When the city of New York estimated that 400,000 residents had AIDS, the commissioner himself, John C. Joseph, said that the estimate was actually less than half that. Little did he know that he lit a powder keg. Leaders of AIDS organizations and social activist groups accused him of minimizing the crisis and staged a sit-in demanding that he resign. It turns out that he was entirely correct.
Okay, so he just goes on using cherry-picked statistics and explaining how the AIDS epidemic never happened. I'll link the video in the description if you're curious. I'd like to point this out, though. This video has 12,000 likes and 2,000 dislikes. There's a ratio of about 6 to 1. Okay? Now this is another video on the topic. Debate. Was the AIDS epidemic, in quotation marks, a hoax? Now this one has a like-dislike ratio of over 10 to 1. Here's a small little clip of it.
I'm just gonna go and shoot me up some heroin and have sex with a prostitute behind the Dairy Mart or something. Like, I don't
know about that. Not gonna lie, wouldn't do it. But it doesn't sound like not fun. I know you released a few Twitter videos and you weren't thrilled with the Hopper AIDS. The AIDS, I think the title was the AIDS epidemic.
Yeah, because no one's actually thrilled with AIDS itself.
Yeah. Right, no one's thrilled with AIDS itself. Shh, Jared, it's not. Shh, no more talking. You're not a moderator. You couldn't be a moderator if you wanted to.
I don't want that.
And
job.
if Jeff ever tells you to stop speaking, you have to stop speaking.
I can do that.
So just don't speak.
I'm happy to.
I'm way too polite for that. Way too polite. We're not on Twitter. Like when I'm on Twitter, gloves are off. It's just.
So yeah, they debate the AIDS epidemic. Again, over 10 to 1 like-to-dislike ratio. In fact, the amount is about 13-ish to 1. Okay. Now, this guy supposedly got angry at Crowder's video on Twitter. Here's the funny thing, though. He wasn't the only one. In fact, Cult of Dusty made a video explaining how everything Steven Crowder said in the first video was completely idiotic. Here's a small little clip warning Dusty is extremely aggressive, so if that turns you off, you have been warned. Link to his video in the description too, as well as the second video. I don't know if I mentioned that.
So apparently, Steven Crowder is a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean by aggressive. I like it personally, but I understand that's not for everyone.
He just put out a video that said the AIDS epidemic, which killed 35 million people, is a hoax. There's absolutely no other way to interpret it than that Steven Crowder does not value gay people's lives. He clearly believes that if gay people die, it doesn't count as much as straight people. And before anybody accuses me of straw-manning him or putting words in his mouth, have a listen for yourself.
Statistically, the CDC puts a heterosexual American's chance of contracting AIDS at 0%, with 92% of all cases stemming directly from male-to-male sexual contact, and the majority of the remainder coming from intravenous drug use. But clawing at the hundreds of millions of dollars in government grants, fear-mongering ran rampant. But hindsight is 20/20. In the moment, everyone believed this silent non-killer AIDS to truly be an epidemic, even though the chances of contracting it short of anal sex with gay strangers while shooting heroin was statistically non-existent. Matter of fact, the chances of a straight person contracting HIV in the modern world is 4 in 10,000 per exposure. Meaning that if a man were even married to an HIV-infected bride, he'd have to engage in intercourse with her an average of 10,000 separate occasions to expose himself to contracting AIDS. Well, through the 1990s, funding continued.
And it goes on. He plays clips of Steven Crowder's video in response to them. And yeah, Steven Crowder can't do basic math. He explains why all of Crowder's sources are wrong. Steven Crowder can't even do math. It's just established. He said that if you put the odds of, I think he said 4 in 10,000. Therefore, if you have to have intercourse with someone 10,000 times in order to expose yourself to AIDS, that'd be 1 in 2,500. And he leaves out some other important statistics. So this video, this not only has about 3 times less views than Crowder's video, it also has a like-dislike ratio of about 0.9 to 1-ish. Or, I guess, 0.95 to 1. Which is okay, don't get me wrong. That's still a decent amount of people liked it, just not the majority. So, 2 videos come out spreading misinformation. And those videos get huge amount of praise from Crowder's audience. A video corrects that misinformation. No, Steven Crowder's audience can't handle that. Steven Crowder has made the statement, AIDS exists. Controversial. That's the only way to put it. And Steven, why don't you have Dusty on your show? Why don't you have Dusty on your show and he can explain to you why your video's awful. He can explain to you why what you said was objectively wrong. He can explain to you why everything you think is incorrect. And it would be amazing. Well, you're not going to do that. You're going to get some anti-SJW YouTuber, some classical liberal on